Oh, hey there. So I want to tell you the story of the Valley of Dry Bones because I think it's very important and very inspirational. So here's what happened. Ezekiel was a prophet. He was one of the major prophets in the Old Testament. There's Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, I think are the major prophets. There's several minor prophets as well. Nevertheless, God comes to Ezekiel and he says, I'm going to take you somewhere. And he does, and he takes him in this valley, and it was filled with bones, just tons and tons of bones. And he walks him back and forth, back and forth. And he said, look at these bones. I was like, yeah. And he goes, they're very, very dry bones. And then God says to Ezekiel, can these bones live? And Ezekiel's like, you know, I don't know. I'm sure he was kind of thinking like, I couldn't make them live. Nothing that I've ever seen would say that they would live, but God, nothing's impossible for you. And so God says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to prophesy to these bones. I want you to tell them, God is going to make you live. And he's like, you say so. And so he starts to prophesy to these bones. And he starts to say, you're going to live. You're going to live again. And then the bones start coming together. They start coming together and they make skeletons. And then he says, prophesy to them again. And so he does. And then they get sinews and muscles and skin on them. But there was no life in them. And he goes, one more time, prophesy to these bones, to this, to these bodies, if you will. And he says, prophesy from the four winds of the earth and bring them here and let them breathe life into these bodies. And so he does. And then all of a sudden, all this massive army comes to life. And I guess what I'm saying is this. Do you feel hopeless? Do you feel like there's no way that in your state it's too late for you? You can't come back from where you've been. You've gone too far. You've died, you've dried up, you've rotted, and there's nothing left. So you're just very dry bones. You're practically dust. Spiritually speaking, emotionally speaking, maybe your life is a wreck. I don't know. We've all kind of felt like this, I would assume, at some point. So God said to Ezekiel, this is how Israel feels. They come to us and they're like, they come to me, they say, we're hopeless. There is nothing that can save us. We are done. We are dead and it's over. And he goes, tell them you will live. Tell them to come out of their grave. You're going to live. You're going to live again. There's a song called Rattle, and I'll record it again. I think it's absolutely beautiful and it's powerful, right? Because what it's saying is this: even though you feel like you're dead, even though you feel like you're gone and all hope is lost, God can put you together and he can breathe life into you and you can live again.